Hello, everyone. Jay and Bobby, the Dyson boys.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How about you?
I'm doing okay.
And I'm pretty sure a lot of other folks in the world are doing fine, despite the fact that we have some treacherous people out there.
Yeah.
Treacherous. So Jeff Flake says that Brett Kavanaugh's being partisan. And we can't have that on the Supreme Court. Jeff Flake. Okay. What do we say about Jeff Flake? Other than he's a rhino.
Yeah, well, he's a rhino. He might as well be a Democrat, you know.
Yeah, may as well.
Might as well be a Democrat.
May as well.
I think he just ran as a Republican because the state he's running in, he couldn't get elected as a Democrat.
Yeah, Arizona.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, he may as well be a Democrat because I think all of his pals are on that side of the house.
Right.
Yeah. That's all of his pals live over there. So on the committee, he's got to sit over with the Republicans, but his heart is really over there
with the Democrats.
Yeah, really over there. You know, I was thinking about how things are going on in this country that are, in some sense, tearing the country apart. You got people out there that are using violent means to get their point across. And then I started thinking, it's like, well, why are people being emboldened to do things like get up in people's face and scream and spit and shout, see a Republican out having dinner with his family and they come up and, just get in their face and start screaming at the top of their lungs? What emboldens them to do that? Here's what emboldens them to do that. When you have people in that dastardly Democrat Party going out and telling people this is how we fight back, like Maxine Waters.
Right.
Get in their face. Be extreme. Okay, a little bit of violence is not going to hurt anything or hurt anyone. When you have the leadership out egging people on like that, well, guess what people are going to do?
Yeah.
If they're extreme already in their thinking, now you telling me to go out and get physical and be violent with folks and get up in their face. Antifa is a good example of that. So you're hearing your leaders tell you to go out and do this stuff, and you go out and do it, and then when it blows back on you, you act like you're surprised.
Yeah.
It really is amazing, man. Really is amazing. The Democrat Party, folks on the left, they don't care who or what they destroy. It's like they're out for the destruction of this country. All for what? To what end? So they can be in power. So they can be the rulers in society. So that people like you and me, we won't have a voice or be afraid to express because of what they're thinking about doing and what they're capable of doing. We see that now.
Well, they look at the Chi-Coms and they figure they got it going on. Nobody over there.
Yeah.
You can't protest the government. You don't
Right.
have any freedom.
Right.
Government is runs everything.
Mm-hmm.
Even foreign companies, when they want to do business in China, they have to open up their business completely to the Chinese. They, their all their intellectual property and everything. They have to let the Chinese have access to it all. But these people, these leftists especially running these tech companies, to them, they don't see themselves as people belonging to a nation. they consider themselves sovereign, and it's like, I'm a sovereign citizen, but I live in this nation, but I'm not, under the laws of this nation.
I'm not subject to the laws.
I'm not subject to the laws of this nation. And a lot of these tech companies, this guy named Barlow, I was reading about, there's a declaration of, came up with the Declaration of Internet Independence, where it's stated that the internet is sovereign from any government control, that the internet is going to exist outside of any government, any rules,
no regulation or anything.
And they could do anything they want, and the government couldn't bother them. The guy that started PayPal, he wanted to have a monetary system that was outside of any government's monetary system, and it's like, they don't see themselves as Americans. So when you see these people doing things, and you're like, well, why would they do something to hurt their country? Well, they don't care.
They don't care about the country.
If the Chinese have access to all their information, so what?
So what?
It doesn't make them any difference. As long as they're making billions of dollars, they don't care about protecting.
Their loyalties are to themselves.
Yeah.
It's pretty much every man for himself.
Yeah, every man for himself.
Yeah.
And they want to be. They don't say it like this, but this is how I see it. They want to be the new aristocracy. Mm-hmm. They want to be in charge and on top, and dictating down, just like kings and queens.
I was just thinking about Louis XIV.
Yeah, it's the same thing. They don't see themselves as they're in this global economic system, this global everything. We want Star Trek, basically. That where everybody,
the Federation,
is in the Federation.
Yeah.
Nobody. You don't get a paycheck.
Well, what did Andrew Gillum say about healthcare in Florida?
Yeah,
he said Florida can't do it by themselves.
Right.
It would bankrupt the system.
Right.
They're in Florida. But if we can do a confederation, that would work better.
Yeah.
In other words, we'll have like other states coming in and be a part of the confederation, and everybody will share the burden.
Right.
Okay? In other words, what Andrew Gillum is talking about, hey, we can do it better than can the government that's in place right now. We can do it better, but we'll have to separate ourselves from the existing government and form up this confederation. And he named off some states that would be part of the confederation, and these states he named off are blue states.
Yeah.
Okay? So that is the thinking with people on the left. We can do it better than anybody else can do it, but hey, how you want to do it has been proven to be a failure throughout history.
Yeah. Well, their thinking is, if we can get rid of sovereignty, if we can get rid of borders, if we can eliminate all this, and control everybody, get rid of half the world's population, or at least get it down to 4 billion anyway. You would have more control over these people. You would have them working. Like I say, you wouldn't, you see it in movies. You don't really make a paycheck. First you start out, you just get credits or whatever,
Yeah.
And then eventually it moves to, well, you don't really need any money because the state takes care of everything. You don't need any, and your goal in life is just to exist for the state.
The state.
They don't call themselves a state because they know their followers.
They give it some fancy name.
Yeah, the followers wouldn't go with that, because anytime you say state and government, the people that follow them, like trying to give them a nasty taste in medicine, and they know they won't do that. We're going to be separated from the powers that exist now, the old aristocracy. We're going to separate ourselves from that. And when you're young and stupid and don't know history, don't know how people you don't think and react. You don't know how to read people. All you know is what you know, the knowledge you have in your head. You don't have any intuitive abilities. None of that has developed yet. And so that all sounds good to you, you know, because you think, well, people, you know, are just gonna be nice. You know, they think evil comes from government. You know, it's like I keep saying, to them, government is this disembodied entity, like some, you know, big super spirit out here in the world. You know, in these capitals, you know, there's this super spirit, so, you know, kind of computerized, you know, hell beast type thing. You know, and when people, you know, start doing what the hell beast tell them, they become part of the problem. It's not that people, you know, steal because they want whatever they're taking. That's not, they don't look at it like that. People are basically good because they think we're still evolving and all that nonsense. Mm-hmm. So it's easy for them, you know, to throw that at young minds and have these people all worked up about this thing, right, thinking they're moving into something new. They don't know that this is just, you know, repackaging. You know, I don't care how you, for the lack of a better word, you know, I don't care how you package a turd, it's still going to be a turd. It's still going to be a turd. You know, you can put it in a nice fancy box. Yeah. You know, but it's still going to be what it is. Yeah. You know,
open the box and it's still going to smell.
It's still going to be a turd. Yeah. You know, but they think that they're doing something brand spanking new that's never been done before. And so while you got these younger people, younger generation, the older people are telling them, yeah, this is the way forward. This is what we should do. You know, this is going to make life better for everybody. And they're like, yeah, who don't want to make life better for everybody? And so they get all worked up and all visceral. I was talking to someone online the other day, and they were talking about white privilege, you know, and they think white privilege, you know, because it's so prevalent today, it's brand spanking new. I'm like, no, you know, you had, in high school, you had certain white kids that, you know, leftist leaning white kids that I knew, you know, were thinking that white people were the problem. You know, this isn't brand new. You know, it's just heightened now. And so you thinking, they tell you, well, white people are the problem. So they think, well, let's exalt everybody else but white people. And they buy into that stuff. But behind the scenes, the people that are running the thing, they're no different than the people that they're railing against now.
And they're not the people that, like you say, are behind it. All of this is not going to apply to them.
No, you know, they're not going to.
It applies to the masses because, again, I don't care in what society, what you want to call your society, there's always going to be two things. There's going to be the elite and there's going to be the masses. Yeah. Okay. And that's just the way all of that works. You know, back to this Confederate thing. Hey, Mr. Gillum. Let's say for a minute you did form up a confederacy. Okay, it's not the first time. Let's say that you did. Who's gonna control the confederacy? Yeah. Who's going to implement the rules, regulations, policies, laws? Who's gonna do that? Who's going to be in charge of it? Because I'm gonna tell you, and this is real stuff. I don't care if you're forming a series of lemonade stands in your city in the summer. Somebody's going to want to control how the lemonade stands operate. Right. Someone's going to want to be the one that sets the price of a cup of lemonade. Yeah. Okay? You're always going to have somebody that's going to feel like, you didn't ask me who decided that you would be in power? Who decided that you would be the one, the authority figure in this Confederate? What about me? Yeah. Okay? You're always going to have that. Something has to be put in place for it to run smoothly. Yeah. Well, what are those things that need to be put in place, Bobby, for it to run smoothly? I don't care what the entity is. You're going to have rules, regulations, processes, policies, laws. You're going to have something. Because not everyone is going to agree on everything all the time. Each individual is going to have their outlook on how things should run, how things should operate. And then what? And then what do you invariably get? Now you get that friction within the entity, because somebody is going to want to. You're not doing it right. I can do it better. And then there you go with the word COUP, a coup.
Yeah.
Because somebody's going to want to take control because, hey, Bill thought he was in charge of the Confederacy. Who died and left Bill in charge?
It's like, who runs the EU?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who runs it?
Who's reigning? Who's setting policies?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's not like they're going to Poland and saying, well, what do you guys think?
What do you guys think?
Then you go to France and Italy and say, what do you guys think? And then, there's no only unifying entity is the EU.
Mm-hmm.
But the EU isn't controlled by any,
mm-hmm.
I see why the Europeans bought that nonsense, because they were thinking, oh, well, we're going to eliminate trade barriers. We're going to do this. We're going to become this economic power. This is going to look good. What they didn't understand when they formed the EU, that starting to come to understand now, is that this unelected body
mm-hmm.
could put in place policies that eliminate you.
Mm-hmm. Take away your sovereignty.
Yeah, Berlin is no longer a German city.
Yeah.
Paris is no longer a German. London is no longer a German city. All these cities have been taken over by the migrants that they allow to come in and, get on welfare and get into the places of power and stuff. They didn't count on that. That wasn't told to them when the EU was formed. And this is how this thing works. You trade, it's like, they tell you, oh, we're going to give you this free stuff. And you get in line, everybody get in line, you're going to get some free stuff. And they handing out spent nuclear fuel rods, Well, you don't know that spent nuclear fuel rods, will kill you. You don't know this, So you thinking you got something going on because it's free,
mm-hmm.
So, socialism tell you everything is going to be free.
But at some point, even the free runs its course.
Yeah, and that's what it's doing.
Yeah.
See, now, you look at Venezuela, that's what it's doing. Now the people in Europe see them, hey, we got hosed,
mm-hmm.
and so now, everybody's want to let's border up,
mm-hmm.
let's get these wicks out of power. Let's
mm-hmm.
get rid of the EU. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to do that. Right now, they are trying to bludgeon Hungary into obeying the rules of the EU. Well, hey, we are a sovereign nation. We don't want to go by your rules. We don't want to bring in migrants like you want us to bring in. Well, if you don't act like we want to, we're going to fall on you and do this stuff to you. And they're like, well, bring it on.
Yeah.
And
Poland's the same way.
Yeah,
it's like, we're tired of this.
We're Hungarian.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that, I hear people say it all the time, well, I live in America, but I'm not an American, Well, if you're not an American, when your house catch on fire, don't call the fire department. If you don't want to be a part of the system, you don't want to be taxed. You don't want to, when people say tax, they think, you're talking about taxes. No, they're talking about the founders weren't upset about taxes. They were upset about being taxed and not having representation.
Yeah.
In the British Parliament.
Not having a say.
You couldn't go to Britain and negotiate, send you a parliamentary person, and they would negotiate on your behalf under the British monarchical system, in the Parliament. You didn't have a say in it. So whatever the British said, they just tried to tax you 50%. That was just that. You didn't have a voice. It wasn't taxes. And you'll hear people say that the founders were revolting against British taxation. No, that's not what they founded. Taxation without representation.
Yeah, that's what it was about.
They leave the representation without representation.
They always leave stuff out that is inconvenient to their agenda. It's like with the globalists. You touched on the EU, and we see it here in this country, where nationalism is a bad thing. Okay, and because the globalists don't want you to be a nationalist. They don't want you to look at your country and have a love for your country and stand up and defend your country. We see that with the ICC,
Yeah.
the International Criminal Court.
Yeah.
That's what we see with them. That ICC and what they do and what they stand for is, you don't want to be a part of our core, Israel and the United States, then we'll go after you.
Yeah.
We'll go after you. With the United States, we'll criminalize your soldiers that are fighting around the world to keep terrorism at bay, fighting for people to be free. Because, hey, you go against what we stand for, and what we stand for is globalism.
Yeah.
That's what we stand for. We don't want this unifying nationalism to be anywhere present in the world, because it's all about globalism. In other words, we want to control what you think and believe as a sovereign nation. We want to strip that away from you, and you march to our drumbeat.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
And even with NAFTA, the left is all up in a roar about Trump renegotiating NAFTA with Mexico and the United States. It's the fact that, not that he was trying to get Mexico and Canada to come to the table and say, hey, let's have equality here. Let's make sure that each nation is benefiting.
Everybody's a winner.
Everybody's winning. Well, they didn't want that. They want America to be diminished, because to the globalists, America is the problem.
Yep.
If America doesn't go down, if you don't, they want it. Right now, if Hillary had won and people would have got upset about what was going on, you were going to have UN troops on corners everywhere in American cities. They would have they would have declared martial law, called in UN troops, and anybody that had any fuss, you dealing with somebody that can't even speak English.
It'll be like the movie Red Dawn.
Yeah.
You
Pretty much.
got foreign troops on the streets of America when it's against the law to even have American troops.
Yeah. And
on the streets.
They would have come for everybody's weapons.
Yep.
They'd come for everybody. They would have locked down the internet. They want what Red China has right now. Mm-hmm. That's what they were pushing for America. That's what they wanted. And they was going to nullify the Constitution because they knew you were going to get upset. They knew you were going to riot and revolt. Hey, you're not doing that to me. Because they understood the American psyche. We'll get mad at each other. But now you come over here with some nonsense, now everybody throwing rocks at you. And they knew that, this is, like I say, the British Crown's still upset about that. Those insolent, what in English about? Bunch of savages, bunch of bloody savages, that's, you didn't leave the Union, we wouldn't have you, because you're insolent, you're unruly, you do what you want to do, you don't want to follow the rules that we want you to follow. This is what the globalists hate about America. America won't act right, and they understood that, And as I'm researching all this stuff, and Lindsey Graham, when he was asking Judge Kavanaugh about treason, and about prosecuting people, how do you prosecute people for treason? Can you prosecute them under civil law, or do you prosecute them under military law? And he said you can do either way, And it's like, why is he talking this? Why is he talking about treason?
Because
it was out of context.
Yeah, but it's on the table.
No, but it's out of context with what we're in that setting. It was out of context. Well, why was he saying that? If there wasn't a possibility of people being brought up for treason.
That's what I mean by it's on the table.
It's on the table, but in that setting, it was out of context.
Yeah,
why did you bring it up here? He was letting them know that, okay, there's going to come point in time when we get the Supreme Court nailed down, and these all these indictments start getting unsealed, you know, people are going to go up on military tribunals. You know, this is what he's saying. You know, yeah, you playing games here, but we know what you've done. You know, we know what you've done. You know,
and to what extent you'll continue to do it. Anyone that gets in the left's way, Democrats, liberals, leftists, anyone that gets in their way, it's gone beyond shouting folks down.
Yeah.
It really has. Now you're getting to the point where you have no problem destroying anyone that you perceive as in your way of you accomplishing your agenda. You lying leftists, you lying Democrats and mainstream media. You have no problem. That's how vile you are. You have no problem with destroying anyone. You have no problem with destroying any institution that is the reverse of who you are. Look at what they've done to the institutions of marriage.
Yeah.
The educational system. What they've done to churches. There are a lot of churches out there that are over on the left.
Yeah.
With the things that they say and do. So everything that the left touches, they only touch it to destroy it. And they want to bring all those that are outside of that camp, that sit outside of it. Either you get destroyed or you assimilate. That's them. They present to us only two choices: get destroyed or assimilate. Yeah. Well, guess what? I'm not assimilating with that mess. Not doing it. Not doing it. And now they see that their agenda and their mechanisms are slowly being stripped away from them. Slowly being stripped away. What really has them angry is they're losing the courts.
Yeah.
That has them angry. And to see the Supreme Court shift to a conservative Supreme Court filled with judges who are constitutionalists, that really has them angry. Because, hey, they would love to take the Constitution and rip it up.
Yeah.
Except for the 25th Amendment.
Yeah. It's in the way.
It's in the way. It stands in the way. So you can see that they've taken due process, which is defined in the Constitution. Was it the 6th Amendment? 4th Amendment? The due process. And no, we don't need to do that. That's in the way. Due process is in the way. If we say you did it, you did it. You did it. If we say that you're guilty, you're guilty. Forget about due process, man. Forget about that.
Yeah. And they've said it, you know. Judge Kavanaugh has to prove that he's not guilty, you know, and which is total opposite of our judicial system. Mm-hmm. You know, the history of our judicial system. No, you are innocent until proven guilty. Mm-hmm. They're saying, no, you're guilty because it's convenient for them. Mm-hmm. They usurp the law. They don't care about law. You know, They just want to do what they want to do. Mm-hmm. You know, so they don't care about law. You know, and they don't care about law and precedent. None of that matters to them. Long as we get to do what we want to do. So if you know, by the time you get to the place, and I think I said this yesterday, where you will sell out your nation, you know, you pretty much think you a demigod. Mm-hmm. You know, you think you're untouchable. Mm-hmm. You know, well, they're finding out that they're not untouchable. Mm-hmm. You know, and so it's not about Kavanaugh. It's not about Blasey for it. It's about them being exposed. Mm-hmm. You know, because when you're exposed and we find out what you have actually done, you know, they're upset because the FBI is not only, you know, they just wanted FBI to investigate Kavanaugh. Well, the FBI, they're having investigations now into who leaked the memo. Who leaked the letter? How did the letter get out? You know,
Yep.
and they're out there, you know, hollering and screaming, "Oh, this is beyond the scope of it." No, you want to get it all. Let's look at it all. You think, and we're going to find out and delay Judge Ford. Now, if we find out that, you know, who leaked it, who did it actually, now that's not going to reflect on the Republican. That's going to reflect on the Democrat, because the Republicans didn't have the information. So you had to leak it. Like Graham said, one of you ducks.
Somebody over there.
One of you ducks did this.
Yeah, somebody over there did it.
You know, we know this for a fact. You know, one of you ducks did this. So we coming after you. And that was basically what Graham was saying. I'm coming after you. I'm coming after you. You know, forget the past. Forget, you know, we may have gotten along in the past and blah, blah. Forget all that.
Yeah,
and they talk about nonpartisan.
Yeah.
When you get Democrats in charge, you know, there is no such thing as bipartisan legislation.
No.
When they're in charge.
No.
As soon as they lose power,
Yeah.
bipartisanship. They screaming it at the top of their mouths.
And they've always done that. I've heard that throughout the years. Or when you guys aren't in power, now bipartisanship is important to you. But when you're in power, no. We don't even want to talk about
elections
bipartisan.
have consequences.
Yeah. And that's what Lindsey Graham told him the other day. Elections have consequences. Using their own words.
Throwing their stuff back at them.
Right back at them. Right back at them.
And at the end of the day, everything they trying is coming back on them. You know, they're going to have to pay for the stuff they done. Basically, Haman's noose. You know, you built this thing to take your opponents out.
You
to
sure
take
did.
the people out that you wanted.
You sure did.
You know, now
it's backfiring on you.
It's backfiring on you, and you're going to be taken out by your own devices. You know, and that's what we get.
Yeah. And they see that coming, and they see, man, unless we take back both the Senate and the House, we're going to see the further erosion of our power.
Yeah.
That's why they're out there being so vicious and being so nasty against anyone that's in their way. Yeah. See, Brett Kavanaugh's just in their way right now.
Way. You know, it's nothing personal.
Yeah.
He's just in their way.
He's just in their way right now. So you violate his due process rights because he's in the way. And you keep bringing people forward like this Miss Swetnick.
You know.
Okay. And we talked about her yesterday. Oh, so you're the litigation queen.
Yeah.
You're the queen of litigation. So that's who you are. That's who you are. And for the Democrats, oh man, she's a hero.
Yeah, she's one of them.
Yeah, because she's one of them. She's going to help us take this guy out. Forget the fact that, hey, there's due process rights here that need to be taken into account. Forget all that. Hey, Swetnick, what did he do? He did this. Okay, clang, here comes the gavel. Guilty. Guilty.
And that's what they want.
Yeah.
But it's backfiring on them, like everything else is backfiring on them. Like, you know, all the traps they set, they're stepping in. You know, for someone else, they're stepping in.
Yep.
And it's getting, you know, if it wasn't so tragic for people, it would be funny. Because, you know, it's nothing like watching somebody set a trap and step in it.
They step in it themselves. They forget where they put the trap.
They forget where you put the trap.
Yeah.
You know, like, nothing's worse than setting a trap and stepping in it yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you're setting it for something else. And it's to the point, like my brother is saying, you know, it's not Kavanaugh. He's in the way.
He's just in the way.
You know, the process, how you're supposed to deal with that, was in the way. So you wait till the process play out. You try to take the process down. The process doesn't go down. We go through the process. The guy's getting ready to get confirmed out of the committee, and then you usurp the process, you know, by bringing this junk in and then stamping it true. You know, this is absolutely true. When we finding out it's not absolutely true. You told your therapist that this happened in your late teens. Oh, well, if that happened in your late teens, then it couldn't have been Judge Kavanaugh. Then you find out, oh yeah, well, so we got to put it in, you know, when you
we got to dial it back.
We got to dial it back. So
yeah.
Then you look at her high school, you know, she's acing her classes, you know. Supposedly at 15, this happened to her. And for the next 2 years, nothing affected her. She, you know,
until she gets in college.
Then she gets in college and all of a sudden she's affected by what happened to her.
It's like, oh snap, I'm affected by what happened to me.
Okay, so if you say the mid-'80s and when you were in college, Kavanaugh wasn't around. You don't want to release the notes of your doctor about your sessions, therapy sessions, because if we do that, then we find out it couldn't have been Kavanaugh.
Like when we were talking about her unwillingness to release her therapy documents, what was the first thing I said? Because there's some perjury in there.
Yeah, we'll find out you're a bald-faced liar.
Yeah, there's some perjury in there.
You sat up there and said absolutely 100% sure. But if you release your therapy, because if they were backing up what you say, they would be out there
already.
You know, see right here, I said this on this date, the therapist confirms that. You know, they can't talk to they can't get the notes because it's not under a grand jury, you know, so they can't subpoena the things. But the idea that you would withhold information because if the information backed up what you were saying, you would gladly
put it out.
So why don't you want to do that? You know, and it's stuff like that people are saying, wait a minute, okay, you know, you guys are just full of it.
Yeah.
You know, you guys are just full of it. And every time Trump has a rally, it's 50, 60,000 people there. You know, they said in Tennessee, the last rally he held, it was up to 90,000 people there. You know, people couldn't get in. And then you don't hear the left talking about the great rallies they have. No, that doesn't mean anything because, you know, our polls tell us. Well, your polls told you back in 2016 when you're saying Trump's rallies that are drawing in all these people don't matter. That's just, you know, a bunch of, you know, like they're taking people from all around the country and shipping them all over around the country. You know, these are the same group of people. It's not that he goes to Arizona and has a big rally. He goes to Maine and has, you know, he's shipping all these people around the country. You know, like that's doable.
Groupies.
Yeah, like that's doable. You know, no. This is what the American people are sick of this stuff. You know, and they make these polls to make themselves sound good, to make the base think that, oh yeah, we're charged up, we're out here, we're doing this and we're doing that.
We have everything well in hand.
Yeah, and the Republicans, you know, the Republicans are disappointed and they're unenthusiastic and all this stuff. You know, you fall into the same trap you fell into 2 years ago. So 2 years from now, you'll probably do the same thing.
Same thing.
You know, because you have no imagination. You know, you think this has worked for us. This has been working for us. Well, now people are seeing who you are, you know, and they're not falling for your nonsense.
And they're not happy with what they see.
And so now you got to have Antifa. You got to have your brown shirts out here beating people up, threatening people, you know, and all this nonsense, ambushing people here and there whenever they can. They can't go to a restaurant without you, you know, your minions. You know, these people are following people around. You know, creating ruckus. And there's 2 or 3 people. It's not, you know, trying to get the whole group of people in the restaurant all lathered up. The restaurant owners just want you to leave.
It's a wonder, you know, when they, like with Ted Cruz, when these idiots walked up into the restaurant where him and his wife were having dinner. The media portrayed it as if Ted Cruz and his wife got up and left, but they didn't. The staff in the restaurant sequestered the Cruzes in another room. Then after they got those folks out of the restaurant, they seated them again in the restaurant. The Cruzes did not leave, but the mainstream media, that's what they put out. The Cruzes got up and left. No, they didn't leave.
They want to think, you know, in their small bastions where they hold control, you know, they want you to think that that's the whole country. You know, that, you know, people are like this everywhere. You know, people are not like that everywhere. You know, they could go to any small town in America and not get treated like that.
So I know the manager of the restaurant the cruise thing took place. He said, no, we wanted to get them out of that situation. Okay. And we took them to another room till we could diffuse, the whole environment and get those folks up out of there, because we respect our patrons. Mm-hmm. That's what the restaurant manager and owner said. We respect our patrons, and they are our patrons. We can't have this kind of thing happen in our establishment. That's why we sequestered them and got these folks out of here. And then once we got them out of here, out of the restaurant, we sat the cruises down and served them dinner.
And it's like, these people will follow well-known, Republicans and conservatives around. They will follow them around and create these hassles for them.
Mm-hmm.
This is how sick and twisted the left is. You will spend your time stalking somebody so you can make a headline. You don't care how you do that. You're just sick and twisted. And I was watching Shawshank clips, and Red said they would let him out when he's got a couple of marbles rolling out on his head in a long white beard.
Who is this? What is this?
Red on Shawshank.
Okay.
He said he told Andy he would get out once he had a long white beard and a couple of marbles rolling around, And the liberals, they don't need a long white beard. They have marbles rolling around now.
Yeah.
The idea of right and wrong, they don't deal in that. They deal, right and wrong is, I say this, and I'm right, and you say that, and you're wrong.
Yeah, but
it's not a common, we don't come to the common denominator that, stealing is wrong.
Right.
We don't say that. We don't say, assault is wrong. Assaulting another person in any fake form or fashion is wrong. No, assault is wrong when we can get a political advantage out of it. If it's us doing the assault, it's not assault. I'm triggered. You come with junk like that. Mm-hmm. You triggered me, and and you're a Nazi, so I have the right to be violent. This is how they think. Mm-hmm. There's no logic, common sense. Doesn't matter to them. My agenda is what I live for.
And for those of you that speak out against me, you're just simply in our way, and we'll do whatever we can to eliminate
you. You need to be eliminated. Yeah. We can't bludgeon you to silence. We will straight eliminate you. And take you off the scene because you are in the way.
And in the process, they're going to be the ones who get eliminated because of the things that they do, the things that they say. And as you said, people are absolutely tired of this silly stuff. All right, here's the smash. Give us a like if you like what you see in our videos and in this video. Just give us a like. If you don't, you can give us a thumbs down. That's not a problem. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, this is a perfect time for you to do so. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button that you see underneath this video. Make sure you ring that bell out there also. That's the notification bell, so you can be notified whenever we put up a new video. Again, we do this 5 days a week, and we're passionate about what we do. We love what we do, and there's no fear in us because of what we do. Anybody is welcome to come and sit down and talk with us. Whether you're from the right, whether you're from the left, or somewhere in the middle, it doesn't matter to us. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great Tuesday, and we'll be back tomorrow.